Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by MiloTree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Before I start, I wanted to explain the MiloTree Umbrella and how we can help you grow your business. So first, if you haven't started a blog yet and you're thinking about it but don't know how to do it, don't want to do it, let us do it. If you head to milotree.com/blogstart, we will set up your WordPress blog for you and we will optimize it so you will be starting on the right foot. And then we're always available for technical questions, that kind of thing. In addition to that, we have our MiloTree pop-up. So once you have your blog, you install the pop-up on your blog and it will ask your visitors to follow you on social media platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube. You can use it to grow your email list. And we just rolled out our custom pop-up that you can link to anything. You can link it to a piece of content, like a piece of sponsored content, or you could link it to a store, or you could link it to a landing page. Anywhere you want to send your visitors, you can use this pop-up on your site. And then the third thing we offer is our coaching group where David and I help bloggers, entrepreneurs jumpstart their businesses. Right now, we're in our first 6-week coaching group, but we will be opening this up again for our next cohort. If you are feeling stuck in your business or you feel like you're spinning your wheels or spending money and not getting the results you are looking for, let us help you. Let us teach you what we know. Let us teach you all the cutting edge strategies that we put in place, that I know, that I talk to my guests about. So that is something to keep in mind for you, because our job, our goal is to support you. And one final thing, if you are enjoying the podcast, please join my Facebook group. It's a wonderful community of like-minded entrepreneurs. And you can find it on Facebook, the MiloTree Mastermind Group, and I would love to have you in there. Those are all of the pieces to our MiloTree Umbrella, as I like to call it. And really, it's only because of you. It's really because we've built businesses and now we want to help empower entrepreneurs and make their path a little easier so that you entrepreneurs can live your dream. That's it. That's as simple as that. So today I have David, my husband, my business partner, my favorite technologist, on the podcast, and we are talking about site speed. Site speed is something every online entrepreneur needs to understand. It's incredibly important if you want to get traffic to your site. And we go through some strategies that you can put in place to help with your site speed. And I think you're going to find this really interesting. And this is actually David's first appearance on the podcast. He supports me all behind the scenes, and I finally said we have to be talking about this. So without further delay, here is David, my husband and the smartest person I know. David, welcome to the show.
Glad to finally be here.
All right, today we are talking about site speed. People talk about it a lot. I don't think people necessarily even understand what it is or why it is important for bloggers.
Well, the main reason you want to care about it, I think what it is how fast does your page load?
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
Okay.
But the reason you want to care for two reasons. First, because you care about the experience your users have when they come visit your site. And that, I think, is the most important reason. And then secondarily, site speed is at some level, no one knows how much, a factor in how Google will judge your site.
So that it shows up in search.
Potentially there's some benefit in SEO.
Okay. So if somebody is thinking about their site speed, what is the first thing they should do?
I think the first thing you need to do is look at it from your user's point of view, which is literally with your own eyes, which is go to your site and does it feel slow? There are synthetic benchmarks, tools you can use to measure, and they're useful in identifying problems. But I don't recommend starting there. I actually recommend starting with your own eyes and trusting yourself. And one pitfall I think you can fall into is sitting at home. Maybe you have a faster internet connection. I know we do here. So we're sitting here with a fast internet connection on a desktop. And sometimes pages can feel fast, but that isn't representative of what your users might be experiencing on their phone, out in the world, on slower connections.
So like go to Starbucks and get on your phone and go to your site?
Go to Starbucks, but don't get on their Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Try it actually on your phone, just using your cell connection.
Okay, and
see what that feels like. Do try it from your desktop too. If it's slow, if your page feels like it's slow at home and in the optimal circumstance, then you know that you've got work to do. Yeah.
Okay, and so what kind of work? Like, let's say.
Well, so what I would say is, go to your site. Are things like coming in slowly? Do you have a big banner image at the top of your blog, and you're kind of watching it slowly fill in? Like, can you scroll? Like have you gone to a page and it's kind of feels like it's frozen there for 30 or 40 seconds? Like those are the big problems you want to kind of have to be aware of.
So let's talk about then easy fixes that you can do to speed up your site.
Okay, so regardless of whether you feel like your site is fast or not, you might as well kind of go through some best practices. So there are two sides to page speed.
Okay.
There is the server side page speed. So that is like how fast does your WordPress, or if you're not using WordPress, whatever your content management system is, how quickly does it initially respond to like a user's request to view the page? And then there's once it responds, how long does it take to load all the images, style sheets, JavaScript,
okay, like
fonts,
like a bucket of assets.
Yes. So when you go to a web page, your browser makes a request to your web host and says, "Give me this page."
Okay.
And what they send back is the HTML document, so like the text you wrote about your content, and in there is a list of all the assets that need to be loaded to show the page. So that means like your photos, the CSS, the Java.
Okay, so this is, let's say, chocolate chip cookie recipe.
Yes.
So I got photos.
You've got
maybe
photos.
I've got a video.
You might have a video. You have
my text about this is my mom's chocolate chip cookie recipe.
Some cool fonts so your title looks funky.
Totally.
Like all those things. So the two sides, like how long does it take for WordPress on your web host to come back with that list of assets?
Okay. And that's your host.
That's your host. So things that affect the speed there are the quality of your host, right? If you're on a cheap host, sharing the server with a bunch of other sites, that could be slower.
Okay. By the way, we have certain hosts that we really like one is SiteGround, another is WP Engine. If you want, you can always email us at jillian@milotree.com and we'll let you know what we think of your host. Because certain ones are definitely better than others. One thing to look out for, if you're with a host that's charging you $2.99 a month, chances are
higher risk of that being slow.
Okay, so we've got the host side.
So let's just stay on the host side.
Okay.
So the things you do, you have one tool to help you here, and it can be extremely effective, which is a caching plugin.
Ooh, okay.
Right. So what caching means is, for each page on your site, it'll pre-generate that bundle for you.
So it kind of takes like a snapshot.
Keeps a copy. So every time a different person makes a request, they get a copy.
Got it.
They get it.
So it's already loaded. It's like preloaded.
Right.
And by the way, I just have to say, caching is a word you're going to see, and it is spelled C-A-C-H-E. That's cache, and it kind of means, I don't know what it means, but it's like snapshot.
It is a copy. Yeah.
Copy. Okay.
Copy a snapshot.
So using something like
Right. So we use, for example, ourselves, we use WP Rocket.
and we like it.
And we like it. It's a paid plugin.
On WordPress.
It does the snapshotting for you, but has a series of other tools that will help on the other side of what we're talking about, which is loading the other assets.
Okay, so wait. So the one thing, though, if you use a plugin like this, the one thing you need to know how to do is what's called pop your cache, which means clear it out so that it takes another photo, let's say, of your assets.
Right. You go in, you update your blog, make a change. If you're not seeing it reflected, it's because your blog is still delivering the copy, not the new version.
Right. Sometimes, like the MiloTree situation, sometimes somebody will go in and make a change to their MiloTree pop-up. Now, we cache it on our end because we want MiloTree to work really fast. And sometimes it usually takes about an hour to show that change on somebody's blog. But then we run into that other situation where somebody says, oh my God, I updated it yesterday and I'm not seeing it. And then we look at their site and go, oh, you've got a caching plugin, pop your cache. And then it will show.
Yes.
So that's one thing you need to know with a caching plugin is how to kind of get it to like start all over again.
Yeah. Anyway, they're like 99% upside.
Okay, so we recommend it.
Yeah, some of the higher end hosts have some caching built in, but even then there are some benefits potentially to using the plugins.
Okay. And so what are some other things that people can do that are relatively like low-hanging fruit?
Okay, so we've been talking about the server side.
Oh, okay. Right.
And caching, that could solve a lot of your problems there. On the other side is, okay, now, we've delivered this copy, this cached copy of your page. It came down fast, but now what's in it? Now you have your fonts, your images, JavaScript, that kind of stuff. So how can we optimize that to make the page faster?
Okay. And what do you recommend?
One easy option is to optimize your images. Images can take up a lot of time downloading.
Okay, and this is the files. It's not the pixel.
Well, image size, it's not the height and width of your image. It is the kilobytes, the file size.
Okay. And so how can somebody optimize their photos easily?
The easiest thing is a plugin, and there are some good free ones like Smush.
That's what we use, right?
We use Smush. It is created by WordPress.
Okay. And it will automatically
optimize your images.
Ooh, okay. So you don't have to worry about it.
Correct.
So back in the day, you'd have to go into Photoshop and save your files, I don't know, somehow, so they were smaller.
Save for web, yeah.
Right. And now you can just use this plugin. It's free.
Correct.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, now what if I want to, let's say I've gone to my site, I think it might be slow, but I want to check it. Are there ways to check my site speed?
Right. Well, again, you check with your eyeballs first. It feels slow.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to find out what's going on.
Right. So there are some tools that you can use. GTmetrix is one.
GTmetrix, you spell that?
GTmetrix.
Okay.
And then Google PageSpeed is the other one. I would recommend those two.
And you literally search for Google PageSpeed?
Yes.
Okay, and you type your URL into both of these.
Exactly.
And what happens?
It will load your page, it will analyze it, and it will identify things that are slow.
Okay, and so let's talk, because plugins can slow down your site.
Yeah, basically everything.
Oh, yeah.
Every single thing you add to your page, even if it's another word or paragraph in your text, is going to add a little bit more to the overall file size. Now, truth is, an extra word in your is not going to be much, but an extra photo could be another second, another half second.
Okay, so that is something that we recommend. So back in the day, you would do your chocolate chip cookie recipe and you would take 50 photos. And I don't know about you, but I'd fall in love with all my photos and want to put them all in my post. And now I step back and I say, is this photo really necessary? I don't necessarily need to show, the same kind of photo from a slightly different angle. I'm very specific and particular about the photos I add to make sure they're worth it.
Right, and there are ways to mitigate loading a lot of photos, which is to only load the photos that the user sees, right? So you go to the page, like whatever you're going to have to scroll down to view images. So those images, you can set it so those images won't load until you scroll down.
Oh, interesting. And how do you do that?
With plugins.
Okay.
So
plugins are both
good
and bad. And I have to talk about MiloTree for a second, which is David has worked really hard at optimizing MiloTree. So MiloTree it is adding something to your site. So we can't say it's not going to have any effect on site speed, but it will have a very, very minimal effect on site speed.
There are a lot of best practices around adding things to your site. So.
And we do those.
Right. So with MiloTree, like you can load scripts at the bottom of the page instead of the top.
Okay.
So that we do that.
Okay.
You can load things asynchronously.
And that means?
That means the page won't stop loading while it's loading your asset.
Got it. So it's like loading it almost in the background.
In the background.
Okay. And so you can trust us when we say we think a tremendous amount about site speed when it comes to MiloTree. But a lot of plugins can be clunky and big and heavy and slow your site down. So just when you go to a site like GTmetrix,
or Google PageSpeed, it'll call it out. And the things you would really want to look for first are things that it says are blocking.
Ooh, okay. So what does that mean?
That means when your browser gets that list of assets in the bundle, and it comes to one that blocks, it means it stops everything else until it can load that.
Got it. Okay. And so those are the ones you want to think about possibly taking off your site.
Or optimizing.
Okay.
Right.
Now, let's talk about ads. Because again, we show ads on Catch My Party, our other site. And what is your feeling about ads and site speed?
Ads will inherently affect site speed probably more than anything else you've put on your page.
Is that true? Wow. Is there any way you can optimize the ads?
There's pretty much nothing you can do as an individual. You just have to have, faith in your ad provider.
Okay.
That they're doing the best that they can. But ultimately, then they are subject to the networks, and there are so many parties involved that someone in there is doing something that's not particularly optimized.
Oh, is that true?
Inevitably.
Okay. So again, it's that double-edged sword of everything on your site. Even though your ads are making you money, they also could be affecting your performance and your bounce rate and your experience with Google.
It's like everything on your blog is a miniature cost benefit, right?
Yes.
Like I wouldn't say don't put ads on your blog because then you're not making any money. So it's worth the page speed cost to get the money.
Got it.
For your ads. Same with an image, right? I'm not going to say don't put images on your blog because your users want images. They want to see pictures of your trip, of your recipe.
Right.
Like you could have a super fast blog, no images, no ads.
And no traffic. Great. Well, I feel like we have really, hopefully, talked about it in a way that is understandable and some real easy or some ways to think about it, some ways to, one, check your site with your own eyeballs, two, to add some plugins like Smush, like WP Rocket, or some sort of caching plugin. Hopefully we've explained what caching is, and that you do need to know how to pop your cache or clear your cache, and that you think about the cost benefit.
And think about your user's experience.
Yes, I would say that's probably...
live in the world of your user, of coming to your site fresh.
Yes. And you know what you could always do? Get your mom to check your site and to tell you what she thinks. Get somebody who doesn't understand technology.
Or like one thing I like to do is when you're out in the mall and there's like an Apple store or some store that has a computer, just go to your website and see how it looks, see how it loads.
That's a good idea. All right, well, David, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know you'll be back talking about other technical things. If you guys have questions, please reach out at Jillian at MiloTree.com or David at MiloTree.com.
And I just want to say, I think we scratched the surface.
Okay.
On page speed.
But do you think that we 80-20'd it? Do you feel like if somebody takes this advice, unless they have some major problem,
I would say no.
Okay.
We got your foot in the door.
Perfect. All right. So we are starting you on this journey. Well, babe, thanks for coming on the show.
Glad to be here.
I hope you saw that wasn't super scary, even as we got into technical stuff. And David's going to come back on the show to talk about other things you need to know as a blogger and an online entrepreneur. If you have technical questions, reach out to me at Jillian@MiloTree.com or David@MiloTree.com. And David and I together teach our coaching group. So I get to teach the marketing and content side, and he gets to teach the technical stuff. And I think together it's a really good mix. If that's interesting to you, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. Also, please join my Facebook group, the MiloTree Mastermind Group. It is hopping over there. It's just really fun, and it's a great community. And I will see you here again next week.